After having to push this game back because of weather a few weeks ago, the time has finally come for number 4, Christopher Newport, and 10th ranked Washington and Lee in the Lacrosse the Nations Cup game here at Wilson Field. We welcome you on the campus of Washington and Lee University in Lexington, Virginia, for tonight's top 10 clash between the 4th ranked captains of CNU, 11-1 through a dozen games this season, and the 8-2 Generals that are 9 in some polls, 10 in others, as they enter here in their final game of the month of March and flip the calendar to April starting tomorrow. But Shane, before we get going, we have a fantastic showdown here today between CNU and WNL as they renew their rivalry in the Lacrosse the Nations Cup game here tonight at Wilson Field.
Yeah, as you said, Ryan, 2 top 10 teams in the nation going at it again. A makeup from a snow game that was canceled earlier this year. And as you also said, the Lacrosse the Nations Cup, both teams playing this one for a trophy in the Lacrosse the Nations series, if you will. But it should be a really good one today. We got a little bit of rain out here, so we'll see how that affects the game. But, of course, you can always love some top 10 lacrosse matchup, especially at the D3 level.
Yeah, Ryan Connell, Shane Riley with you here on the Washington and Lee Sports Network as the captains and generals clear the field for warm-ups. Just to give you a little background, we had about some good steady downpours about an hour ago for some consistent rain. It is very much subsided to just a light sprinkle for now, but definitely the field very wet for most of warm-ups players out there, just covered. The perfect example was Hillis Burns wearing a General's gray sweatshirt. When he walked out, it was the light gray. When he walked off the field, it was a different color gray from all the rain. So very much the weather impacting warm-ups. We'll see how much that pays off in terms of the rest of this game as the captains and generals get ready here today. CNU coming off a win this weekend. They beat Montclair State in the CLC opener, their new collegiate lacrosse conference. They beat Montclair State by a final of 15-9. Washington and Lee beat Hampton City by a final of 20-6 on Saturday on the road to pick up another win in ODAC play. They're 4-0 through conference competition and 8-2 overall this season. The Generals 3-1 here at Wilson Field. Their only loss coming to a then-ranked number 10 Gettysburg squad. Gettysburg, another opponent that Christopher Newport has played this season. The captains got the better of the Bullets earlier this year by a 13-4 final at the Mustang Classic up in Stevenson. And teams getting ready here as they're getting ready to get underway here momentarily. Washington and Lee and Christopher Newport as generals and captains get introduced here. We'll get you the starting lineups, and we'll first start with CNU. It starts in goal with the junior Mason Bellinger. He's joined by number 2, Kevin Miller, who has a team best 62 points this season. Sophomore midfielder number 7, Fred Fulkerson. A freshman midfielder number 20, Jackson Plattner. A junior attackman number 22, Jamie Smith, with 44 goals this season. He's joined by a junior midfielder number 25, Ethan Slusher. A senior defender, number 45, Colin DeGrassi. A senior attacker, number 47, Brett Jackson. A freshman defender, number 55, Jed Policano. And rounding out the starting lineup, a sophomore defender, number 62, Mark Davison. For Washington and Lee, no changes to their lineup from Saturday's game. The midfield trio of Joey Allen, Jack Elliott, and James Cardillo. The attack unit, James Haley, Hillis Burns, and Jack Dalton. On defense for the Generals, Jay O'Keefe, Nick Garcia, and Chris Datson, making his second start of his college career. The first-year goalie from McLean, Virginia, number 40, J.J. Kim, got the start against Hampton Sydney on Saturday. Made 6 saves, gave up 5 goals. Will get just his second start of his college career, his 5th game played of this season for the first year, and he gets the start against number 4, Christopher Newport, tonight. But besides Kim, one of the other big storylines of today's game, but you'll see right here on the opening faceoff. 2 of the best guys in Division III on the faceoffs, going head-to-head. Tyler Spano for Washington and Lee, Warner Cavanis for Christopher Newport. Their first battle of the night gets us underway here at Wilson Field, and it's Washington and Lee away with the opening faceoff as the first one goes to Tyler Spano. Generals in the home whites, the blue numbers and letters, Generals across the front of their chest. CNU in the visiting black uniforms here today as the captains go from right to left and the Generals left to right. Joey Allen possessing here for Washington and Lee as he takes it behind the net for WNL. Allen out front for Jack Dalton, his shot wide of the target, but possession will stay with Washington and Lee.
Yeah, Dalton, a really good look right in front of the goal that time, trying to get it at that right near post, just unable to find the target.
Ellis Burns, fresh off a 9-point game on Saturday against Hampton Sydney, goes to work, and he opens the scoring for Washington and Lee.
And Washington and Lee just really good movement on that first possession, getting really good position inside there, and just an easy goal to get this one started off for the Generals, exactly how they could have wanted this one to go.
So Burns gets what is goal number 20 of the season for the senior from Louisville, Kentucky. Now give him 20 goals and 20 assists for an even 40 points this season as he leads Washington and Lee in that category with 40 points in his senior season. Cabanis and Spano again on the face-off, and it's the wing play for CNU that gets them the face-off win, and they will make a change and leave off for the top unit midfield. So CNU gets their first possession here on the offensive side of things. Here comes Jackson Plattner. Leave off for Ethan Slusher. Slusher this season, 14 points, 10 goals, 4 assists. The transfer from High Point. His first season here with CNU. Oh, the goal. This is Fulkerson. Trying to go one-on-one with the short stick defender and Elliott Cohen. Plattner. Forced back here by Chris Datz. 30 to shoot for the Captains. Plattner trying to lower the shoulder. Force back here for Slusher.
It's a really good defensive effort here from the Generals, not allowing Christopher Newport to get really any lane.
And a wraparound try for Fred Fulkerson. Ties it at 1.
And just as I say that, Fulkerson found himself a little backdoor look on the goal there. Just ran right around, beat his defender, and he'll take that easy one to knot it up at 1 apiece.
Just tries to wrap around to that near post and able to slot it to the backside to pick up his first goal of the night, 9th of the season for the sophomore from Littleton, Colorado. Christopher Newport this season, a team, one of the best offensive teams in Division III. Them and the Generals both top 10 in terms of goals per game. As face-off rolling towards the captain's bench, and Tyler Spano able to walk the tightrope to control possession. So 2 of the first 3 face-offs to the Generals in the early going as we're tied at 1. Jack Elliott has it stripped out of his stick and is picked up there by Daniel Shatton.
Elliott tried to initiate some contact there and just lost the ball behind him.
Shatton dishes off. And that'll be Kevin Miller that gets a touch behind the goal. Miller this season, 62 points, 21 goals, 41 assists for the sophomore from Richmond. It was the Collegiate Lacrosse Conference Rookie of the Year last year. Had 50 points last season, which was the second most in a season of any freshman in CNU history. Already 62 points through 12 games this year. Another opportunity for the Captains as getting knocked into the crease there was one of the CNU players. That was Brett Jackson, and that's a turnover for CNU. Washington and Lee could go quickly in transition the other way.
W closed down quickly on Jackson's move there, and good physical play to knock him into that post and steal the ball.
Ellis Burns, backside, looking for the long pole. That was Andrew Lehman who was denied. Here comes CNU pushing the pace. Fresh off the bench is Jamie Smith. One more pass over the middle. Miller dodging through everybody and somehow able to stay control. Another chance here, and Christopher Newport able to score. So the Captains work it around quickly, and that was number 50, Will Cramp, getting the goal.
Yeah, Cramp was unaccounted for on that inside post there. The Gen was unable to get back up onto him, and he had a free look right onto goal and did not miss his opportunity. CNU now goes up 2-1.
So Cramp scores a goal for the Captains to put them in front for the first time tonight. And now Cabanis wins the face-off back for CNU. So 2 face-off wins for Tyler Spano, 2 for Warner Cabanis here in the early going.
And just like we said, Ryan, it's going to be a close one on all those face-offs, and in the early going already 50% for both guys, just exactly what we thought we'd see.
Santoro checked in the midfield, lost his footing in the ball, but the Captains take it right back. It's Pelicano able to win possession back for CNU. The Generals very engaged with their defense through the midfield. CNU is able to complete the clear. Christopher Newport's only loss this season coming to defending national champs Tufts in overtime. Just 11 days ago, a 16-15 final. Captains have rolled through much of their competition this season. The likes of Gettysburg 13-4. Wins over another ranked opponent in Lynchburg 16-12. They beat Stevenson 13-10. Was forced to double overteam to beat Grove City. And J.J. Kim comes up with a save as a flag flies behind the play. See what the call is here, and appears that the Generals will be going a man down.
Yeah, good effort by Kim, though, on the save. Didn't see what the penalty was there on the Generals, but as you said, Ryan, going a man down. It's a big spot already early in this one, finding themselves down a goal. You don't want to fall behind too much.
So it'll be against Nick Garcia. He's given a 1-minute penalty, so the penalty will be released at 9:04 here in the first. As for 60-second reset on the shot clock. So the first man-up opportunity of the night comes for Christopher Newport, working with a 2-1 lead as they operate 6-on-5 here against Washington and Lee. Plattner back and forth here with Kevin Miller. Miller up top for Sashian. Shot from the slot for Jamie Smith, wide of the target, and J.J. Kim out of the net to track down possession there for the Generals.
The Generals did a good job there of just holding their position, letting CNU move the ball around. They were able to get it into their inside slot there to shoot the ball, but way off target.
A bad pass from Chris Datz trying to get it back to Kim. The Generals turn it over right in front of their own bench. Still about 15 seconds left on the man-up try here for CNU. Fulkerson down here for Smith. Smith from a tight angle off the side of the net.
Yeah, for a minute there, it looked like that one was in, but Kim was in good position. No way he was going to slip that one by.
The Generals back to full strength as they head the other way. And now Washington and Lee will utilize a timeout. So Coach McCabe wanting to talk things over for the Generals, trailing 2-1 here with 8:53 to play in the first. The 19th year head coach of the Generals, Gene McCabe, who's led Washington and Lee to a 228-107 record during his time as the head coach of the Generals. Brought them back to the national semifinals last year for the first time in 22 years, where they fell to Tufts 19-13. Coach McCabe, one of the most successful coach in program history in terms of wins, has had double-digit win seasons in 14 of his 18 seasons, and with the Generals standing at 8-2, entering the night on pace for what would be another double-digit campaign for him.
Yeah, McCabe, just the definition of success here at W&L. You can see just a little bit frustrated with how the play had been going for W&L out there. They got off to the quick lead with that early goal, but then committing the penalty, able to clear the ball off of the penalty and not concede another goal there, but just giving his team a chance, taking a timeout, giving them a little breather, and just trying to get back into that early game flow that they had.
On the other side, head coach Mikey Thompson in his 10th year with CNU. This is his 9th season on the sidelines for the Captains. They have reached the quarterfinals of the NCAA tournament each of the last 4 seasons, with trips to the national semifinals in 2021 and 2023. The former player at UVA who got his coaching start there, spent a few years as an assistant at CNU before getting the head coaching job, and although this program is less than 20 years old, has taken them into being consistently one of the top 10 programs in the sport. And over the last about 5 years, one of the top 5 programs in Division III men's lacrosse, and entering the day, the 4th-ranked team in the nation, 11-1 here in 2025. Out of the timeout, Washington and Lee ball here in the offensive end. Just under 9 minutes to play in the first, a 2-1 lead for the captains of Christopher Newport. Ryan Connell, Shane Riley with you on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. It's Jack Elliott, James Cardillo, and Joey Allen, the top unit midfield for the Generals out there, with James Haley, Jack Dalton, and Hillis Burns. Haley on the exchange, back and forth with Cardillo. Elliott for a cutting Haley, and his shot over the bar.
Haley's a little overzealous with that one. Had a good angle at the goal from his side. Just threw that one right over, but it'll stay here with W&L.
Burns will trigger it back in. Take a couple of whacks from the stick work of the captains. Haley able to get this one off. Elliott, shot blocked. Washington Lee picks up the ground ball. 15 seconds left on the shot clock. Burns gonna swivel to his right, shoot and score. Hillis Burns gets his second goal of the night and ties this game at 2.
Yeah, Almassian did a good job to block that first shot on the left side, and then Burns comes in here, he gets the ball, sizing his defender up, puts out a nice cut move on him, finds a nice slot right in front of the goal to put his second goal home of the night.
2 goals for Hillis Burns. For Washington and Lee, goals for Fulkerson and Cramp for CNU. 7:55 to play here in the first. And Spano and Cabanis lock up for the 5th time tonight. Each guy has come away with 2 face-off wins, and Cabanis wins his 3rd of the night. They'll dish off for Kevin Miller and exit. Allows CNU to bring its top unit midfield back in. That possesses Fulkerson, Plattner, and Slusher for CNU. Joined by Miller, Smith, and Brett Jackson. Slusher down low for Jackson, far corner. And a moving pick that time. They'll force a turnover and give it back to Washington and Lee. A breakout chance in transition. Spencer Surface. Extra passes here. And the captains neutralize what was a quick 4-on-3 break.
Generals got out on the break there. Had a slight window to get through, but didn't want to force anything there. Did Surface on the far side. Smart decision just to take that one out and set up again on offense.
So we'll see the second unit midfield trio of Riley Albrechts with James Meyer and Sam Bassett for W&L. Albrechts hesitating far side. Behind the net here for Haley. And Ermshire rotating in on attack for the Generals as well. Haley trying to leave it off for Ermshire, and checked out of his stick, trying to get it there. Davison work it up the near side as Fulkerson trying to use the angle to cut ahead. Fulkerson off for Kevin Miller. Miller trying to drive left and stood up the whole way by Jay O'Keefe. Plattner had it knocked loose. Both Colin Beatty and Chris Datz there to force a turnover. Beatty ahead for the Generals. Beatty trying to go end to end, and he will. Colin Beatty re-gives Washington and Lee the lead. A turnover on one end turns into a goal on the other.
Just great all-around effort there from Beatty, forcing the ball out on defense and then understanding he has the whole middle of the field to take to himself. Nobody really comes and gets him, and he just comes right to the middle. One defender on him, but nobody's standing there in the middle, and an easy goal there for Beatty to give the Generals a 1-goal lead.
4th goal of the season for the short stick defensive midfielder Colin Beatty. The Generals retake the lead 3-2. 5:36 left here in the first. Spano and Cabanis again on the face-off, and a clean win that time for W&L's Tyler Spano. Leave off for Burns, and the two face-off guys will exit. Burns controlling here for the Generals. Waiting for Jack Elliott, Robert Bath, and Joey Allen to all cycle in. Bath, another contributor for the Generals in his first year. He's played well in the midfield at times for Washington. He returned to the lineup on Saturday. That one intended for Jack Dalton in front of the net. Clanks off his stick and is swooped up by a captain's defender. And Shatton able to bring it across midfield. So Shatton brings it in the offensive end. We'll leave off and look for a midfield line change. Smith. Back here for Jackson Shaw. Shaw looking for options. Waiting for teammates to join the fold. Fresh into the game is McLean. That try there from Cramp misses the net. Triggered back in by Miller behind the goal with 30 left on the shot clock. Jackson off for Cramp. Short on time here for the captains. Jackson fires. J.J. Kim the save. Long rebound comes all the way out to midfield. Dive after it. Dats picks it up. An opportunity to go the other way for the Generals, and a flag had flown. And it looks like this one's going to be against Washington and Lee.
A little bit of delayed flag there, at least on the whistle. I mean, already started to get out on the breakaway there, but seeing new player going down there, looked like Washington and Lee fell into him.
So it's going to be a slash against Elliott Cohen. 1 minute penalty against the Generals.
Last penalty, the Generals were able to hold up on defense, not concede a goal. We'll see if they're able to do that again here.
So second extra man opportunity of the night for Christopher Newport. We're unable to convert on their first chance, but we'll get one here with 3:27 left in the first. Still working around the zone here offensively and trying to find some gaps in WNL's five-man zone. Kevin Miller around for Logan Sashian. Sashian running the point here. A shot and a goal for Plattner. Jackson Plattner converts on the man up for Christopher Newport. And that's the game at 3-aside.
Yeah, for the Generals there, Garcia got a little bit aggressive there on the pass. Tried to bite towards the middle and got burned a little bit from the backside. An easy shot there. CNU ties it up at 3 apiece.
So Jackson Plattner, the freshman from Maryland, gets his 10th goal of the season. Well, a top contributing freshman for Christopher Newport this season. Some good size at 6'4" in the midfield as well. You saw his shot on display right there to convert a man up. Another face-off that was picked up by Spano and then swiped out of his stick. Still a ground ball in the defensive end that just goes through the carnage and heads to the corner. Eventually, Christopher Newport controls, and they will take a timeout once they get possession.
Yeah, that face-off just seemed like it might have never ended there. Everybody going down, trying to get the ball. Spano all the way back, almost at the Generals' goal, but Senior able to win it in that far corner.
And they take a timeout with 2:38 to play here in the first. A 3-3 game between Christopher Newport and Washington and Lee. So far to the matchups to watch. The Generals' first-year goalie, J.J. Kim, making his second collegiate start. 2 saves, 3 goals allowed, one of them being a man-up opportunity for Christopher Newport, but has made a couple of stops as well against the captains, and the other one at the face-off X. 7 face-offs this thus far here tonight. 4 in favor of Warner Cabaniss for Christopher Newport, 3 for Tyler Spano.
Yeah, pretty much what we talked about in the pregame. Going to be a really tight game on those face-offs, 4-3, as you said, pretty much dead even, especially when you look at that last face-off lasting as long as it did. And then obviously J.J. Kim back there, he's looking pretty solid so far. Like you said, a couple of those saves. Hasn't really been out of position too bad. Obviously giving up the 3 goals, but the Generals have 3 of their own, and that last one wasn't really his fault. Defender getting out of position and sort of left him in a tough spot, but this game's been just about all we could have asked for so far.
3-3 our score, a little over 2.5 minutes left here in the first at Wilson Field on the campus of Washington and Lee University for this top 10 showdown between number 4 Christopher Newport and 10th ranked Washington and Lee. Ryan Collins, Shane Riley with you on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. Captains have possession here in the attacking third. They'll have it on the far side of the field as soon as they brought it into the offensive end. Once they were able to establish possession, I should say, as it ended up in the Generals' defensive end, they were able to establish possession and utilize a timeout. And so they'll have just 79 seconds left out of the 80-second shot clock here at 2:38 left as Brett Jackson will bring it in on the far side for the Captains. Make a couple of changes here, one of them being Ethan Slusher back in, but Christopher Newport turns it over, and an errant pass that gets away. Generals trying to clear it up the far side as Spencer Surface brings it ahead. See Allen, Elliott, and Cardillo to come on in the midfield for the Generals. Top unit midfield here this evening. Comes to Cardillo. He's marked by Daniel Shatton. Cardillo will take it behind the net. Dancing his way around the crease. Out front looking for a cutter. Elliott couldn't control it, but it ends up with Burns. A shot and a goal there from Joey Allen. Where he takes the lead for the Generals, 4-3.
Just a great shot there from Allen. Picks up the ball there on the pass. I believe that was from Burns, and then Allen just going right at his defender. Gets right around him and slots it home in the top corner.
He was able to switch hands to the left side and get the left-handed shot away and find the top corner of the net for his first goal of the night. 16th of the season for the senior captain as Joey Allen puts the Generals in front by 1 with 1:36 left here before the end of the first. Spano and Cabaniss tied up, and Spano is going to be awarded the face-off after Cabaniss grabbed a hold of him. Tangled up around the waist there. Spano is trying to plead his case to allow him to play advantage and kind of keep continuing with the play ahead. Looking for a cutter in front of the net and overthrew him. So the Generals turn it over.
You got to think now Spano wished that they had that play on from the official, but he called it back. Understanding that there was a tug there. Unfortunate there for Washington and Lee.
Generals engaged with their 10-man ride here. Going to make life difficult on the clear for the Captains. This long pass all the way ahead. Ends up in the stick of Smith. One-on-one with Kim, and he scores.
What an impressive pass there all the way from the other end. Off the stick. Pretty sure that was Pelicano that threw that one. And then Smith just getting it on the other end. Putting a good move on, and a beautiful play there from Christopher Newport.
Yeah, Pelicano saw they were running out of time on the clear, just tried to loft it ahead for Jamie Smith. And the high arcing pass got to him, and then he was able to beat the Generals' first-year goalie one-on-one from point-blank range. So 4-4, exactly 1 minute left here in the first. And a violation against Christopher Newport on the face-off. That one will be awarded to Thomas Moxley for the Generals. Burns, a quick shot, and then an answer right back.
And Burns on that one. He pump faked his early attempt at the goal, got his defender jumping a little bit at that shot, and then hit him with a nice spin move. turn around, free up some space, and then a quick shot right at the top of the corner of the goal. Really not a lot the defenders could have done there.
It was almost a kind of fadeaway shot attempt from Burns, but he has a first quarter hat trick for the Generals. And as they lead at 5-4, it's Spano and Cabanis again on faceoffs for the Generals and captains. And as Cabanis away with it for Christopher Newport, it was Thomas Moxley against Grant Sawinchi in the last faceoff. That was a going early violation against CNU. It allowed for the Generals to score back with that Burns tally. This try from Shatton goes over the net, but Christopher Newport maintains possession. Less than 30 seconds left in the first. Shot clock really not much of a factor here if the captains opt to really hold for one last chance before the first period horn.
You got to think they probably opt to do that. The Generals have been pretty quick getting back and stealing a couple goals before maybe CNU can get set up.
Jackson loads up, and that one deflects past the net. 6.5 seconds left here in the first. Another opportunity for Fulkerson. Trying to go one-on-one. Slusher, a shot right before the horn, a save for Kim, and the first period comes to a close. Washington and Lee takes a 5-4 lead to the second as the 10th-ranked Generals get a first-quarter hat trick from Hillis Burns and lead by 1 here against number 4 Christopher Newport on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. Time for the second quarter here at Wilson Field. Our scorer, number 10, Washington and Lee 5. Number 4, Christopher Newport 4. Ryan Connell, Shane Riley with you on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. Generals got 3 goals in the first 15 minutes from Hillis Burns, as that has paced the way for Washington and Lee offensively. Other goals from Joey Allen and Colin Beatty. As for Christopher Newport, Fulkerson started the scoring. He got help from Will Cramp, Smith, and Plattner, all with goals for CNU. 3 saves for the first-year goalie J.J. Kim in net for Washington and Lee. As for Christopher Newport, Mason Bellinger, just 1 stop in that first 15 minutes. All the shots the Generals have been able to convert for scoring chance opportunities. The two teams will flip sides here to start the second, as Tyler Spano able to get a good look there on the faceoff. Tries to get a shot away, and that one fumbles out of his stick. A dive after it behind the goal, and Washington and Lee will keep possession.
The Generals should feel pretty good after that first period. You know, having a couple times where they are a man down, only giving up 1 goal on those opportunities, and obviously with the 1-goal lead. But, you know, a team like CNU is never going to go away. Certainly for CNU, also a lot of things to feel good about in that first period. So both of these teams are going to look to carry that forward.
Cardillo working against Zach Sands defensively. Cardillo, Allen, and Elliott. Top string midfield here for the Generals. James Haley's shot blocked that time by Colin DeGrassi. Defensive unit of DeGrassi, Policano, and Ark Davison for CNU. A bit more of a younger squad on the back end have been really tested so far here tonight. Burns with a chance. Bellinger, the stop. It's the second save of the night for Mason Bellinger, but he denies Hillis Burns.
It's a great stop there from Bellinger. Burns has been on fire with his earlier shots. As we talked about, already a hat trick in this one, but Bellinger reading that shot all the way and a good stop.
Fred Fulkerson turns back here, lays off for Ethan Slusher. Now Jackson Plattner join them in the midfield. Plattner has it knocked out of his stick. Trail check there from Spencer. Surface forces a turnover. A 5-on-4 break the other way for Washington and Lee. Cohen for Surface, and he misses. Trying to reward the defensive midi for his work on one end. Can't get his shot on target.
Still great effort there, though, from Surface coming behind and winning that possession. A little bit wide on the shot, but still gives the Generals a chance to score here.
Healy exchanging with Burns on the backside. Burns working against Davison. Albrecht's a low to high shot that stopped. Now, loose ball picked up by Shatton.
Bellinger's the one making the big saves now in this period.
On a transition try for CNU. That one getting away from the long pole, Almacian. And now Chris Datz leading the break the other way. Beatty's pass deflected off a stick, out of play. And it'll stick with Washington and Lee. A little bit of a chaotic sequence there from both sides.
Generals had good numbers on that breakaway, but very good defensive effort from that CNU player there, getting his stick out, knocking that one away. Potentially a goal-saving play right there.
The Generals will allow for some changes to be made in the midfield. Allen loses the defender and skies the shot.
Allen found himself right in front of the goal there. Trying to go for perhaps a little misdirection to get the goalie. Not seeing it, but can't find the target at all.
Haley operating at X for the Generals. Ali for Jack Dalton. First year. Trying to go to work on the short stick. Help defense comes, passes out of it. Bassett right into the stick of Bellinger. Long pass up on the clear. Rolls through the defense, past Jay O'Keefe. Davison picks it up. Extra pass, and Smith converts.
And nobody for the Generals there or CNU really able to pick that ball up all the way through the midfield.
As we'll see it here on the screen, just that bouncing ball that gets through about 5 different players before Davison recollects, and then as Jamie Smith right on the doorstep to put it home. Second goal of the day for Smith, his 46th of the season, and it knots the game at 5.
And nothing really Kim could do there as that ball sails all the way through. Generals without numbers on the back end, and Smith all alone.
Another showdown here between Cabanis and Spano. And Spano, at least one possession, and he does regain. Getting peppered as he picks it up off the turf. Big hit there, flattens Gabe Ryder. And Generals have called a timeout before possession was lost there, and that's what the refs award, the timeout for WNL to keep possession with 11:21 to play here in the second.
That was really strong physical play there from Spano to keep control of that ball not only once but twice after losing it. And then the Generals understanding that they want to keep possessions there. Once again, give them a little breather on that far end, and Coach McCabe opting to call a timeout.
The Generals and captains deadlocked at 5 early in second. Across the Nation's Cup game between these two squads. An organization that both of these programs have a big affiliation to, with coaches Thompson and McCabe heavily involved with the executive board with Lacrosse the Nations of bringing the game to other parts of the world that might not have direct access to the game of lacrosse. And, especially talking to Coach McCabe about how much the organization means to their program and being able to do something with the sport that they play, and these two programs to play for, albeit a rather small trophy, but something to play for of a cause that they both care so much about, means a little bit more to this rivalry between Christopher Newport and Washington and Lee, and that's what's on display here tonight.
Yeah, you always love more fuel to the fire in rivalries, but of course the Lacrosse Nation is doing a great job of just spreading the game of lacrosse, as you said, Ryan, and it's always a good effort to bring a sport to underprivileged communities across the globe, in the U.S., wherever it is, and you just love seeing that effort. But all the effort certainly going into this game tonight. Both teams trying to take home that trophy and win a top 10 matchup. There's a lot riding on the line here in this game.
Robert Bath with it for Washington and Lee. That sets up Haley, and that one hits the crossbar. He gets checked in the face with the flag flying behind the play, so there's a delayed call coming here against Christopher Newport as James Haley rang iron.
Yeah, a strong shot there from Haley. The only thing that could beat him was the iron, but Generals will be awarded the man-up play here. We'll see if they're able to slot one home.
The first opportunity of the night for Washington and Lee. Cross-check to the head there, a 1-minute non-releasable penalty. It's the signal from the official there, non-releasable. A full minute will have to come off the clock, so the Generals go a player up. With 11:07 to play here in the second. First man-up opportunity of the night for Washington and Lee. Features their top attack trio and their top midfield. Cardillo, Haley, Burns, Elliott, Allen, and Dalton as they work 6-on-5. Bellinger, the goalie, trying to get involved a little bit away from the play. Was out of his net momentarily, but back in the spot. The old hidden ball trick sets up Hillis Burns, and it works! Had everybody fooled as Burns scores his 4th goal of the game on the hidden ball trick.
And they had me fooled up here. I couldn't see which way that ball was going. I was watching for it. I actually thought it went the other way, but then just getting the Christopher Newport defense confused, out of position. A couple guys sitting a little bit too far up and probably where they should have. And Burns, once again in the right position, slots another one home.
And since it's a non-releasable penalty as well, the Generals will still have a little bit of time left here. Penalty occurred at 11:07, so about 34 seconds still remain on the man-up chance here for Washington and Lee. Cabanis and Spano go sliding over each other, and look at a push on Tyler Spano, which will award the faceoff to Christopher Newport.
Essentially huge, big face-off win for Christopher Newport just to try to bleed out the rest of that penalty.
The captains have possession here with Brett Jackson and eating a lot of clock close to midfield. Trying to make sure they are able to get back to full strength. Still about 10 seconds remain on the cross-checking call against CNU and Colin DeGrassi. And final few seconds come off the clock. Christopher Newport back to even strength. The Generals converted for at least a goal on their first man-up opportunity of the night. Nothing more to show for it but that. It does re-give them the lead, 6-5. Hiller off for Jackson Shaw. Jackson able to beat Kim. Brett Jackson gets in on the scoring and ties it at 6.
Yeah, Jackson using that speed there to get around his defender. Kim just not expecting that shot angle, coming in right off the side of his stick. Beats him right at the near post.
Really a good effort there from Brett Jackson in terms of really not winding up for much of his shot. Just found a little bit of an opening there as he kind of turned the corner and just with the quick release really caught Kim off guard. It's his first goal of the night. Give him number 32 on the season. His face-off won by the Generals. Lehman and defenders draped all over him, and he lost possession. And that was Thomas Moxley on the draw for the Generals, handling Grant Sawinchi. And you've seen Each of those guys take just 2 draws and both go in favor of Washington and Lee, while the face-off battle between Cabanis and Spano even at 6 aside between those two. So 9 minutes left here before halftime, a 6-6 game, in Christopher Newport with possession in the attacking third. Kevin Miller controls. Stick checked by Jay O'Keefe. Backside it comes for Jude McLean. Jackson. Get it back here, top of the zone. Not really able to corral that one as Plattner. Check that is McLean. McLean, one more pass intended for Shaw. Karam's off his stick, time on the shot clock winding down, and WNL will pick up possession. The Generals get a stand defensively. They'll look to bring it forward.
Senior just didn't really get comfortable on offense in that possession. You see a couple of errant passes that ran the clock down for him, and just really unable to find any good looks there. Good defensive work from Washington and Lee.
Riley Albricks, the stutter step, going to work his way around some CNU defender traffic. Burns stops back right, looking for Meyer and overthrows him. Had James Meyer cutting to the cage, and that time, senior in first year unable to link up. Christopher Newport will use Fulkerson to bring it through the middle of the field and ahead for the captains. They allow for a midfield change here. Rain starting to pick back up at Wilson Field. It had really been some light drizzle for much of the first and early part of the second, but more of a steady rain as this game continued. Some downpours about an hour before game time as well really help to dampen the playing surface.
We'll see if that rain picks up and becomes more of a factor, but not really a big issue for the players out there right now, even as it is.
Kevin Miller on the pass to Fulkerson in front, and Christopher Newport goes up 7-6.
Yeah, Fulkerson was just left all alone in the middle there. I'm not really sure what went wrong for Washington and Lee. Maybe too many guys just out of position, not really knowing where the CNU attackers were, and Fulkerson just slips right in there and takes another one.
So Fulkerson gets his second goal of the game, 10th of the season, and gives the captains back a 1-goal advantage, 7-6. Teams have really traded goals consistently back and forth throughout. The Generals went up 1-0. CNU tied at 1. They went up 2-1. Washington Lee tied it at 2. The Generals then went up 3-2. The captains tied it at 3. So on and so forth. No one has had more than a 1-goal lead. Face-off awarded to CNU, and now an opportunity to try and go up by a pair of goals for the first time tonight.
CNU last possession were really able to break down the Washington and Lee defense, getting some guys out of position with some quick ball movement, so we'll see if they're able to execute that again.
Jackson down low for Fulkerson. Tight angle is Miller, and he bounces it in. Not much room to operate for Kevin Miller, but enough to score a goal. And Christopher Newport goes up 8-6.
I don't think Kim was prepared for that shot. You can see him sort of get down low, and maybe he was prepared, but that one slipped right by him. Not really sure how that got by, but still a great shot there. And as you said, Ryan, the first 2-goal lead of the night.
Kevin Miller, after a pair of assists, it's his first goal. He's got 3 points tonight. He's had at least 4 points in 10 of 12 games this year for Christopher Newport. So we have a tie-up on the face-off. Thomas Moxley for the Generals against Warner Cavanis. The ball comes hopping over on the turf. Jay O'Keefe away with it. So Moxley does his job, going 3 for 3 on face-offs here to spell Spano, and his first one against the All-American Warner Cavanis goes in favor of the Generals sophomore Thomas Moxley. Now Washington and Lee, an opportunity to try and strike back here. A little over 5 minutes left before halftime. Trail 8-6. Joey Allen off for Hillis Burns. Elliott stood up that time by A.J. Rosacker. Generals will back it out wide with James Cardillo. Cardillo sweeps it through for Allen. Burns switches hands. His shot denied by Bellinger. Rebound picked up. Elliott puts it home.
Yeah, Bellinger's been doing a really good job this period and making some good saves. Burns did a good job freeing himself up, had some space, but Bellinger gets his stick right on it. Unfortunately, not able to catch it. And that one rolls right to the feet and able to throw it right into the back of the net. Good play off of the rebound from Bellinger.
Jack Elliott gets the goal for the Generals, his 13th of the season, first of the night, makes it 8-7. Bellinger gets the initial save, but the rebound too much, and that time Spano able to win the face-off back for the Generals. Washington and Lee. And the response after CNU went up 8-6. Can they find another one here to tie it again at 8? Elliott off a screen. Generals have some 6-on-5 time here as Cavanis cycles off, but unable to use it. Still a long pull in there for Washington Lee with Chris Datz. They'll cycle out. And the ball will come back the other way. A turnover by the Generals. Sands for Jackson Kim, the sliding stop.
And for CNU on the opposite end, Davidson did a really good job putting pressure on that far end on defense on Burns. But Kim on the other end, a really big stop there, and the Generals right back on the other end on offense.
And they had one of the defenders in Chris Datz caught in the offensive zone. He was going to come off for a change. The CNU had the 6 players they wanted in defensively. When he came off, Washington Lee turned it over, and then Kim makes a save on the rush the other way by the captains, his 4th save of the night for Washington and Lee. And now the Generals have it back. Elliott around some vicious checks. She's off for Robert Bath. Allen over for Burns. He's had a hot hand tonight. 4 goals for the senior. Van Ermscher in the slot. Goes wide. And Christopher Newport will use their final timeout of the first half. With 2:34 left here before halftime. CNU wanting to talk things over in the defensive end. They lead 8-7 here against Washington and Lee. The offense has won out thus far in the first 30 minutes or so. 2 of the higher scoring teams in Division III men's lacrosse this season. And you'd see why an 8-7 scoreline here just shy of halftime. 5 saves for Mason Bellinger in goal for Christopher Newport. 4 saves for J.J. Kim in net for Washington and Lee. Generals driven by 4 goals from Hillis Burns here in the first half, while Kevin Miller, a goal and a pair of assists for Christopher Newport, paces the way for the captains. Generals had Fair share of opportunities thus far. 4 more shot attempts than CNU. A few of those have not made their way on net. A couple of shots have been blocked by some defenders. Here with a little over 2.5 minutes left and just about 30 seconds to operate on the shot clock. Washington Lee trying to find a goal to equalize this game at 8 apiece.
And overall, there really hasn't been much to separate these two teams. We're talking about before, biggest leads only sitting at 2 goals, and both teams are responding to each other. Newport were able to find a couple goals in a row, but then the Generals responded quickly with their 7th. Just about exactly what we were expecting, a tight contest between these two top 10 teams, and the Generals now looking to equalize with their final 30 seconds on the clock here.
So Washington Lee will bring it back in. Hillis Burns controls behind the net for the Generals. Elliott. On the exchange with Allen. Bath, one more pass. Haley. And that one missing the net. 6 left on the shot clock here. Generals will make a midfield change, and Burns, he has to bring it down into the corner where it went out. He's going to try and make one last rush towards the goal. Burns, with the clock winding down, fires away, and it misses the target. And that'll be an 80-second violation against W&L.
And Burns doing the best he can to try to get centralized on the goal there and get a good look, but really a tough shot there. A couple of Crystal Newport defenders crashing in on him. So they'll take it the other way.
Ellinger, the goalie, engaged here for the captains, trying to complete the clear. He's able to skip it ahead for Sands. Sands, and that shot off the crossbar, courtesy of number 23, Logan Sashian.
And Kim was thoroughly beat on that one. Didn't even have his stick up there as Generals turn it over again here.
Blair Brennan slipped up, turned it over, but no numbers for Christopher Newport, so they opt to settle. Now Sashian in front, and on the second effort scores.
As you were saying, Ryan, they were not necessarily up any players there, not a numbers advantage, but Sashian able to sneak inside, just waiting there for the pass. Defenders for the Generals just not closing out on him in a free lane right into the back of the net.
So Sashian gets his first goal, 16th of the season for the senior. And Christopher Newport again leads by 2, 9-7. 1:22 left before halftime. So Warner Cabinets and Tyler Spano ready for another draw. This one, it will lock up. Just try and battle around. Spano able to poke it free and scoop it up. He gets it off here for Andrew Lehman. Haley will pull it out. Just about the shot clock not going to be a factor here. There's 82 seconds left before that face-off, and with the 80-second shot clock not starting until someone grabs possession, the Generals can really hold this one out and ride it in towards halftime here. As James Meyer backs it into the corner. Christopher Newport holds a 2-goal lead over Washington Lee. They've won the last 4 straight meetings between these programs. Generals last one in 2019. Meyer going to go to work with 20 to operate on the clock. Burns trying to find a way towards goal. Haley had to just pass that one away. Dalton trying to golf it to keep it in. Picked up right at midfield, and that shot well high before the end of the horn. Generals were running out of time before halftime. Turn it over right at midfield, and the first half comes to a close. A 9-7 lead for number 4, Christopher Newport, against number 10, Washington Lee, here at Wilson Field. We'll step aside when we come back. We'll break down some first half stats, get you ready for the second half in this Lacrosse the Nations Cup battle between number 4, Christopher Newport, and number 10, Washington Lee, here on the Washington Lee Sports Network.
For proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. You can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
A good citizen is someone who wants to make a positive impact, both in their communities and in the world around them. The Division III approach is absolutely the best approach out there for amateur sport because it wants student athletes to explore all parts of who they are. Be successful in the classroom, be successful in competition, be successful in the community. So our student athletes learn what it means to strive for and attain success, but doing it the right way and being good citizens.
Comprehensive learning is being able to adapt to experiences and apply the things that I learned. Being an athlete and juggling academics helped me grow as a person, and things that I've learned, I was able to apply it in another field, putting them into everyday life. Developing comprehensive learning helped me prioritize certain things to make sure I get to where I want to be.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, being a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
I believe sportsmanship is a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
If you could add anyone or anything to Mount Rushmore, what would go on the monument?
Anyone, I would go Will Mattia, his old lacrosse player.
I'd probably put a Sigma on it. I'd carve it right in the middle.
LeBron James, without a doubt.
I would add my mother, because she's awesome and always there for me.
Maybe a piece of steak, because that's my favorite meal, and I think everyone needs a little meat in their life.
My dad would be kind of cool.
I'd put Van Morrison.
Probably Bo Nix.
Just loving the rookie fever here.
Yep.
I guess make it more festive in the holidays, I guess.
John Muir. Definitely my mom.
LeBron.
Care to explain?
He's the king, 40,000.
Probably putting Michael Jordan up there as my GOAT.
Better than LeBron?
I think so.
Ryan Aljader.
Leif Smith, because he's the best.
Probably Hillis Burns' face up there.
Probably Hillis Burns after the overtime goal against Salisbury.
Matt Damon.
It would probably be my favorite athlete, Chris Paul, one of the top point guards of all time in the NBA.
A couple top hats.
Just to add a little decoration?
Yeah.
Probably Hillis Burns. I guess I'd go Derek Jeter, just following the athletes.
Probably Jerry Garcia.
LeBron James. I would put Malik Neighbors up there.
I don't know, maybe like a Chipotle sign. Love Chipotle.
The CEO of Chipotle. Love me some Chipotle. Michael Jordan, all-timer.
Better than LeBron?
Better than LeBron.
LeBron James.
Definitely LeBron James.
He's just the GOAT in your opinion?
Absolutely. Way better than Michael Jordan.
I would put up the Dallas Cowboys football team because they've won a lot of Super Bowls.
Hot sauce.
David Goggins. Stay hard.
Oh yeah, I'd put my mom up there on Mount Rushmore.
Probably add Will Ferrell up there. He's a great guy. Adds a lot of humor to our lives, so Will Ferrell.
Jay O'Keefe.
Probably my future self.
High aspirations?
Tom Brady, no question. He's the GOAT. You know, I'll have to go with ground beef. Ground beef's going on Mount Rushmore. I would say Tom Brady.
I would add Jane Daniels to Mount Rushmore.
Tom Brady.
Michael Jordan's face.
Yeah, okay.
There we go. I'm going to put LeBron up on Mount Rushmore.
Joey Chestnut.
Just a great American hero.
Yeah, definitely.
Tyler Spano. He had 3 goals against Salisbury. It was really cool. Fun to watch.
Probably like a bald eagle head.
I'll say I put Coach Garrett on there. I think that his hair and his beard combo really well and would look nice on a mountain.
Student success goes far beyond grades. Yes, students want to come and they want to achieve in their classrooms, but they also want to learn all of those things that are going to stay with them for the rest of their lives.
I would say the majority of Washington Lee students are, in addition to taking their classes, also at least part of 3 or 4 clubs.
When I got to this campus, I would have described myself as this really shy person who, yes, did theater and could perform on stage, but couldn't talk to people one-on-one. Now I'm the social chair of 3 different organizations on campus. Really, the transformation is just completely crazy.
While academics is first and we are student athletes, the professors here at WNL also want you to succeed in your athletic commitments. And so being able to work with the professors so you're able to get everything that you want out of your athletic commitments while also being academically successful as well.
I'm in a fraternity. It's been a really good opportunity, and I've grown really close with the guys who joined at the same time as me. Being around them being some of my best friends has really just allowed me to grow as though we were family together.
Of my really close friends, I would say that at least 2, if not 3 of them, I've met through the theater department. We get a lot of students who come in and do the shows, and so having friends that aren't necessarily theater majors but love to do the theater shows here makes it really special.
I sing in the Grace Episcopal Choir, where I've gotten to meet a number of people within the Lexington community, which has just been a super cool experience because Washington and Lee is so connected to Lexington, and so getting to be on both sides of it has just been an amazing experience.
Rockbridge is this beautiful rural setting. The campus kind of bleeds right into the rural areas with the back campus farm and things like that. And so students are often out and about taking advantage of our back campus forest, the farm, and then getting out into some of the forested areas.
Lexington comes alive during spring term. The outing club becomes really active, doing hiking trails through the mountains. You can float down the Maury, which is a river that runs through Lexington itself. It's a really great time to be in this part of the country.
We want students to feel good about what they're doing and how they're growing and how they are becoming the people they want to be. That's student success at WNL.
Welcome back to Wilson Field here on the campus of Washington and Lee University. Our score at halftime, number 4, Christopher Newport, 9. And number 10, Washington and Lee, 7. Ryan Connell, Shane Riley here with you on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. To dive into some of the first half stats. Shane, very even across the stat sheet here. A few more shot attempts for Washington and Lee. One more save for Mason Bellinger over J.J. Kim, 5-4. Ground balls very even. The small edge on the face-off battle to Washington and Lee. And have won 11 of 18 first-half face-offs. And for the Generals, Tyler Spano going 8 of 15 against Warner Cabinets head-to-head. But Thomas Moxley, the secondary face-off guy for the Generals, he's won all 3 of the face-offs he has taken, including one against Cabinets head-to-head. That has been really the difference on the score sheet there in terms of the slight edge on face-offs in favor of Washington and Lee. The two teams will flip sides to start the third quarter here, and so it'll again be Spano and Cabinets to get back underway here in the third. A very controlled first half. The largest lead was 2, which was in favor of Christopher Newport 2 separate times. But other than that, it had really been trading goals back and forth, and we will have a foul against the Generals on the face-off there, which will cede possession over to CNU. Captains will go right back to work in the offensive end. And a good close to that second quarter, outscoring W&L 5-2 in that second period. Generals led 5-4 after one. Now 9-7 here to start the third. Jamie Smith behind the net, off for Fred Fulkerson. Around the perimeter, it goes for Brett Jackson. Fulkerson out in front. Smith catching iron there. Both Kim and the near post helping to keep that one out of the back of the net.
Smith got really good position again inside. Kim, like you said, Ryan, a little help from the iron, but able to knock that one away. Seeing you still going right back at it, though, here with 50 seconds.
Jackson down low. Smith drops this, Smith denied by Kim as Kim drops the stick low. Jamie Smith saw an opening. J.J. Kim closed it off. The Generals head the other way. Elliot Cohen pressured back, goes to Burns. Burns slides down. He's off for Jack Dalton, and the Generals will wait for the midfield to change. Allen will steer back as he awaits Jack Elliott to join him. James Cardillo will follow suit. Starting midfield unit for the Generals. Jack Dalton, Hillis Burns, and James Haley. It's a quiet half for James Haley. 4 shots. That's all. No points for him. 4 goals for Hillis Burns. Led the way for W&L. Elliott nearly lost it, trying to flick it over to Haley, and knocked it by him and out of play. Turnover, Washington and Lee.
Yeah, not what the Generals are looking for there. Trying to get back into this one. Both teams really back and forth on the goals, but Christopher Newport now chance to get the biggest lead of the night and extend it to 3.
Captains rotated into the offensive end. They got 4 points in the first half from Kevin Miller, a goal and 3 assists, a pair of goals for Jamie Smith. Contributions from a few other players. Fred Fulkerson also with 2 goals. This one, another low shot that is denied by Kim. One coming from Will Cramp. Go low on the Generals' first-year goalie, and first 2 shots he saw down there, 2 saves here early in the second half.
I think that's a good sign for Coach McCabe, seeing that from Kim. Struggled a little bit in that second period. A couple shots that maybe shouldn't have gotten by him that snuck by, but strong start here. No goals conceded.
Burns feed Meyer ahead. Meyer, a nice stick work to work that away. Dalton from almost an impossible angle. Nearly goal line extended there. Not much room to really shoot and miss the target.
Dalton still took a big crack at it. Had a small angle, as you said, but really no chance to sneak that one through. Generals do keep possession, though.
Albricks leaves it for Burns. Burns turning left, down low for James Haley. Burns going to roll the crease and bounce it wide.
Only 9 seconds here for the Generals to work, so they're going to have to go quickly here.
Bassett. Gonna fire one that skips into the corner wide, and the shot clock expires. Another stand defensively for Christopher Newport. Bellinger helped to orchestrate the clear here for Christopher Newport. Mason Bellinger not afraid to get in on the action himself. Game against Williams just last week. Helped to turn the tide in that game. Fulkerson in transition gives Christopher Newport a 10-7 lead.
And Fulkerson has just been unstoppable at moments in this game. You can see him here just slicing through the Generals' defense and midfield. Nobody really can keep up with his speed, and the two Generals defenders on the backside unable to get there and catch up to them, get a block on that shot, and another one back in the net for CNU's 3-goal lead.
So third goal of the night, hat trick for Fred Fulkerson, gives him 11 on the season for the sophomore midfielder. Christopher Newport has their largest lead of the night, 10-7. 10:33 left here in the third, and a quick face-off win for Warner Cavanis. Won it straight back that time. The captain's able to continue to build momentum. John Santoro off for Jamie Smith. Sashian rotates in. Christopher Newport taking its time here. Santoro behind the net for Miller. 20 to shoot for the captains. Miller right to the crease, and he adds on. Second goal of the night for Kevin Miller. Gives him 5 points on the evening and an 11-7 Christopher Newport lead.
Christopher Newport are doing a really good job getting right into the front of the goal. Did that also in the first half, and that time Miller again just able to slip by the W&L defense, just not quick enough to get there on the rotation. Christopher Newport now starting to pull away a little bit here. We'll see if the Generals are able to stop the bleeding.
Took a 2-goal lead into halftime. They score the first 2 goals here of the third quarter. A holding call goes against W&L. A mini 3-0 run. It's an extended 7-2 advantage for Christopher Newport since the start of the second quarter. Has flipped this game to an 11-7 captain's lead. Miller, backside, Slusher, denied by Kim. Rebound, scooped up by the Generals' defense. And Kim looking for the long clear, has it stolen away. Nice defensive work that time from Plattner. Saw the eyes of a defender sneaking out. Slusher reloads and scores. The captain's barrage continues here to start the third. It's 12-7 CNU.
Yeah, and Kim a little over aggressive on his exit pass from his own zone there, and then CNU once again just picking apart Washington and Lee. Slusher getting right into the middle, slotting another one home.
Washington and Lee, Coach G. McCabe Gonna want a timeout, and he will get one. 3-0 start to the third quarter for the Captains. Have given their largest lead of the night, 12-7.
Coach McCabe really not happy with the official there. Very emphatic with his timeout call. Understand his frustration giving up 3 goals in a row to start this half. Washington Lee just not looking too sharp defensively. Christopher Newport finding all the holes. A lot of them unassisted, just running straight into where they need to be and slotting goals home. So good timeout for Coach McCabe to try to resettle his guys.
8:27 to play here in the third. Has been a good run for the Captains. Extended 8-2 run since the start of the second. It was a 5-4 WNL lead. Captains tied it at 5. Washington Lee went back up 6-5. Christopher Newport took its first lead at 7-6 with 6:32 to play in the second. They went up 8-6. The Generals responded to make it 8-7, and it has been 4 straight goals since. 1 before halftime, 3 coming at a halftime, and it's now a 12-7 game.
And the Generals have also gone stagnant on offense as well. Not too many opportunities either on that side, losing all those 3 faceoffs in this half. So an area where they had the lead in the first half. Certainly going to be a focal point to try to win a couple more of those, try to build the momentum back up and get some looks on offense. Really been all Christopher Newport this half.
And so Thomas Moxley will head out to take the face-off for Washington Lee against Warner Cabanis. Just to throw a different look here. Cabanis has had some success coming out of halftime. Generals will turn to the secondary man in Moxley, and Cabanis getting better as the game has worn along. A clean win back and does his job as he exits stage left. Ellinger going to take a shot, and Kim has to step over to make the save. Ellinger trying to crack from his own end, had the goal empty. Elliot Cohen, the transition chance, and the goal for Washington and Lee.
As you said, Ryan, Bellinger with an ambitious shot from the other end. And the Generals getting back quickly on the counterattack. Cohen just slicing right through, and a big goal for the Generals here to cut the lead back to 4 and try to get the momentum going back in their favor.
Elliot Cohen registers his 3rd goal of the season. A 2-time All-American short stick defensive mini contributes on offense here tonight as he ends a run of 4 straight goals for CNU. Spano out there for the face-off against the Generals, wins it against Sowinchi. Washington and Lee have a chance here to operate again on offense to try and keep plucking away at this Christopher Newport lead. Robert Bath joins Joey Allen and Jack Elliott in the midfield. Lee gets it behind the goal. Burns will leave off for Allen as the Generals rotate it around. Bath up top, Burns. Back to his right, bounce shot, goal! 5th goal of the night for Hillis Burns. Makes it 12-9.
And Hillis Burns just putting on a goal-scoring clinic tonight. 5 goals. Showing us all the moves that he has as well. Receives the ball here far and just beats his defenders. And forehand shot just throws it right past the arms of Bellinger. And the Generals now a couple unanswered.
So back-to-back goals for Washington and Lee. They have come 58 seconds apart. And just a minute and a half after CNU went up by 5, it's now a 3-goal game. Moreno and Cabanis. This one may have to be won by the wing play, and on the bounce off the turf, it comes back to Spano. does his job for Washington and Lee. So after a goal in transition, a face-off win, and a quick goal, now another face-off win for Washington and Lee, and another chance to inch closer. Elliott saw an opening, just couldn't convert.
Yeah, good chance there for Elliott. Just a little bit too high on that shot, but as you said, Ryan, the Generals starting to stack that momentum, winning a couple face-offs here, and now trying to add on another goal to cut the lead to 2.
There's James Haley, still without a point so far tonight. Bath, topside Burns. This time his bounce shot is controlled by Mason Bellinger, who makes his 6th save of the night. And CNU heads the other way. Turned back by Jamie Smith. Holkerson take the long lap around. This one knocked down by Carter Shallcross. Leads the break the other way. And just overthrowing Chris Datz was Spencer Surface, and a flag behind the play. Perhaps too many people off sides, and we'll see who it's on, either Washington Lee or CNU. Both had a lot of players trying to hustle in either direction. And it looks like it's going to come against Christopher Newport. Generals sending out their man-up unit. There'll be a 30-second call here against CNU. Gives Washington Lee their second man-up opportunity of the game. They scored 1 in the first half. The only other penalty against the captains, and this 30-second call for offsides against Ethan Slusher gives the Generals a chance to be man up with 5:18 to play in the third. Dalton, Cardillo, Haley, Burns, Elliott, and Allen for Washington and Lee. Here's 6-on-5. This time, exaggerated pass to Dalton. Allen back to Dalton. Final few seconds winding out. Burns will pass for Allen, and that shot got blocked. Pelicano knocked it down with his body. Back to even strength for CNU. Washington and Lee still with plenty of time to work here offensively. Dalton around the horn for James Haley. Haley off here, Burns. This one skipping past the net. CNU in position to win back possession.
It's a really good defensive stand there from CNU. Not giving the Generals any quality looks while a man down, and then another man comes up, just staying strong once again, and they'll take it the other way.
In the middle of the field, Fulkerson. Christopher Newport cycling in. Likes of Brett Jackson. Trying to get their spacing organized here offensively. Miller. A cut towards goal, and he sweeps it in. Was he in the crease? That's the question at hand. They say no.
And Miller got, once again, Christopher Newport just all day getting right in front of the net. That time, take a look to see if he was in the crease. He was not. Just beat Kim right at the near post.
It got knocked in after the fact, if anything, but did well to work his way around the crease and stay out. 7 points now for Kevin Miller. 3 goals, 4 assists, and his team leads by 4, 13-9. 3:31 left here in the third. And a clean win for Warner Cabanis. Captains possess this 4-goal lead, and we'll wait for some changes. Clean out there with Shaw and Santoro. Flag flies behind the play. Lead call coming here against Washington and Lee. The captains try to utilize some time with the penalty marker down on the field. Falling to the turf, losing possession. Another penalty flag flies. Still a scrum after the loose ball. Santoro at least was away with it momentarily, and now it gets flung out of play. Last by the Generals, and a man down unit going to come out here for Washington and Lee. And we're going to have penalty here against Washington and Lee, and it's just a matter. Looks like it's going to be 2 calls perhaps. The Generals going to be perhaps a couple players down, and they will. So it's going to be a 6-on-4 opportunity for Christopher Newport. A pair of 30-second calls against the Generals. Against Beatty and Shallcross, respectively, both for interference, both 30-second penalties. Now 6-on-4.
It's a really big spot now for Christopher Newport.
And now they're going to say it's just 6-on-5. It's just going to be 1 call for interference. That was a late addition. Originally thought perhaps for 2 calls. It's just 1. Now the Generals have 6-on-5 defensively. That one broken up over the middle. Kim sticks the stick up to control it.
Generals have looked good. Not perfect, obviously, defensively when down a man, but
that one shot right into the stick of Jackson. And he's going to convert with ease. Check that. Jamie Smith on that turnover and completion. That's the old pick 6 in football there. The interception right on the pass, right into his stick, and there's plenty of green grass in front of him.
And I was saying the Generals had looked good when down a man, but just an unfortunate pass there, picked right off by Smith. Really good job just getting his stick right up in the air, and fortunate that went right in, and nobody in front of him. Easy play there for Smith to bag his hat trick.
So that's a hat trick for Jamie Smith. That's his 11th hat trick of the season and what is game number 13 for Christopher Newport. He has 47 goals on the season and 3 here tonight. 1:45 left in the third, and the Generals again trail by 5. It matches their largest deficit of the night. And CNU is again outscored W&L 5-2 in this middle third period like they did in the second. Generals had a response last time they fell down 5, scored back-to-back goals to cut it to 3.
Yeah, and you'd like to see for Washington and Lee at least another goal for the end of this period, and not to concede again would be big as well.
Working around here. Elliott for Dalton. Cardillo probing slot as well. And Ermshire gets a touch. Now Cardillo will try his luck, and Bellinger makes the save and grabs the rebound all in one. CNU will have under 40 seconds to work. This one fumbled right at midfield, but regained. Now Fulkerson able to ease up the tension here. Smith. Just 10 left here in the third. At play over the middle. And it's Brett Jackson on the doorstep. Back-breaking goal to end the third quarter for Christopher Newport as they lead by 6, 15-9.
It's exactly what you don't want to have happen if you're Washington and Lee. And, of course, the opposite for Christopher Newport, a last-second goal right before going into the fourth. And once again, a point-blank shot that it's really tough for Kim to do anything about.
Comes with just 3.8 seconds left in the third. As Jackson now has 2 goals. And an early violation against CNU. One last chance effort for the Generals. And off the side of the net by James Haley as it rolls out of play. Christopher Newport extends its lead. They outscore Washington Lee 6-2 in the third frame and lead by 6, their largest lead of the night. We head to the fourth quarter. Number 4, Christopher Newport 15. Number 10, Washington Lee 9 on the Washington Lee Sports Network. Back for the fourth quarter here at Wilson Field in Lexington, Virginia, the campus of Washington and Lee University for tonight's Lacrosse the Nations Cup game between number 4 CNU and number 10 Washington and Lee. The captains have pulled away to a 6-goal lead as we enter the fourth quarter, 15-9. They have outscored Washington and Lee 11-4 over the last 2 quarters. The Generals led 5-4 after one. It was CNU 9-7 at halftime. They tacked on a big third quarter, 6-2 in favor of the captains, outscoring the Generals, and they now lead by 6, their largest lead of the night. 7 points for Kevin Miller leads the way for the captains, a hat trick for Jamie Smith, and Fred Fulkerson, 2 goals and an assist for Brett Jackson, and 7 saves for Mason Bellinger. Ellis Burns has 5 goals for Washington and Lee, but that's just about it. Just a few other contributions from a few other folks. Jack Elliott, just 2 points, the only other player with more than a single point for Washington and Lee. Tyler Spano takes the face-off win against Warner Cabanis, and the Generals are stopped there. That one getting caught up in the equipment of Bellinger. He looks behind him first, thinking that it was in the back of the net, but it was just stuck between his shoulder and his chest protector. He takes a tumble with the ball in his stick. Big slash from Burns to keep it up. Bellinger trips him. Still chaos after the loose ball. And CNU, with an extended effort to try and complete the clear, gets J.J. Kim out of the net. He takes a check from behind and turns it right over. Very physical start to this fourth.
And you can feel the sense of urgency from Washington and Lee there. Kim took a big shot from behind. Good job by his defenders, though, sort of crowding the area, making any shot from that distance almost impossible. But Christopher Newport gets set again here on offense.
So the captains back to work. Jackson. And a moving screen that time. Is it right back to Washington Lee on the turnover?
The Generals are going to need a big spot here. Want to get it going early, needing 6 goals to tie this game up.
Allen wants to get back to that right hand and had his space closed off. Gonna have to start with 1 goal at a time here and some continued success at the face-off X. Burns able to find the back of the net for the 6th time tonight. Ellis Burns has carried the load for Washington Lee offensively, and he makes it a 15-10 game.
And you got to think they're going to keep going back to Burns consistently, just very accurate shots, been able to find the target. A lot of top corner shots that have beaten Bellinger. Bellinger also has gotten the best of Burns a couple times, but Burns will probably be the answer going forward for the Generals if they're going to want to get back in this game.
James Cardillo with the assist on the 6th goal of the night for Hillis Burns. Gives him 25 on the season now. They go along with 20 assists. He has a team best 45 points. Tyler Spano going to come away with the face-off. Struggles to pick up the ground ball. It's still hopping around on the turf. Sticks go flying, and CNU somehow gets away with it.
Yeah, seeing you almost stealing one there. Spano had it a few times. Kept having it get knocked away from him, just unable to control it. He'll be now losing a stick there and then seeing you coming away with it.
Yeah, they do give it credit for Spano with the face-off win, but then the quick turnover, as he at least did have it momentarily in his stick, just kept bouncing out of the pocket of his stick, and now Christopher Newport ease the pace here. Possess a 5-goal lead. Over 12 minutes left to play in the 4th. Trying to beat Washington Lee for a 5th straight season. This try goes over the goal, and stepping into the crease was McLean, and that's going to be a turnover.
Christopher Newport have really tried to get it inside every single time. That time just getting a little too close. Inaccurate on the shot as well. Washington Lee will come again with it the other way.
Kim up ahead finds a cutter. It's Ethan Villamater. What a way to complete the clear there for the Generals.
Yeah, Kim came up well out of his spot on this one, looking for the pass, finds Villamater, and then just has all the space in the world, comes up, takes his shot, good power behind it. Able to beat Bellinger for General's 2nd goal in a row.
How about the goalie, J.J. Kim, picking up an assist? The first year gets his first collegiate point as Ethan Villamater scores his first goal of the season, and it's 15-11.
Yeah, Kim did a really nice job picking his spot there to come out and then spotting Villamater, who's wide open there. Tons of space.
His face-off controlled by Cabanis, quickly swept from his stick. Stick loose on the ground. It's a Washington Lee one. And again, it's the captains out of the scrum with the ball. So taking it to the far side is Jackson.
Every defensive possession for the Generals equally, if not more so, crucial than their offensive ones. Keeping the lead at 4 or whatever it is at that time is paramount for the Generals to stay in this game.
Captains here on this pass. It's going to be an over and back, and it will. Another turnover. 2 straight possessions for CNU, in which they have turned it over. The Generals convert on this one as well. Burns. Backside, Haley. Denied. Bellinger able to stop it, and then Haley trying to fall after it. Dives into the crease. A crucial stop there from Mason Bellinger. Keeps this a 4-goal lead for CNU. Smith. Thought about this shot, and elects to pull it back out. Slusher joined by Jackson Shaw. Slusher on the far wing. Again, captains not the most crisp passing here in the fourth.
And there's been times today where their passing on offense hasn't been as crisp. Third quarter certainly didn't see much of that, but start this fourth just a little bit out of shapes here.
There's 12 seconds left on the shot clock here. Fulkerson trying to line up the one-on-one. He has the speed to get by. His shot misses, and he ends up in the crease. Another turnover for CNU. 3 straight trips down the field for the captains. They've gifted it back to the Generals. Washington and Lee find a way to get closer from this 4-goal deficit. 15-11, 9:18 to play here in the fourth.
If you want to back into it, certainly taking advantage of the opposing team's mistakes is the best place to do it.
Elliott out along the perimeter. Haley again stopped by Bellinger. Tried the low shot for the near post. Bellinger had the stick in position again.
Yeah, Bellinger at times in this one has just been prolific with this stick and his body, getting in front of shots and halting the Generals' runs at times. They've had moments where perhaps they're going to score a couple goals or even 3 goals in a row, but Bellinger coming up and making big stops.
10 saves now on the night for Mason Bellinger. Has kept James Haley off the score sheet so far. Last 2 trips down, Haley has been denied by Bellinger both times. CNU taking time with Smith in the far corner. A lot of traffic around the screen. O'Keefe, the defensive assignment here against Miller. That one never made its way on target. Jackson draws a flag. This one, Kim gets a shoulder to. And an errant air horn there with the shot clock winding down. The folks at the table did not see that it reset. Jackson off for Miller. They'll back it out. Still a flag marker down here. What would be against Washington and Lee. So we creep inside of 7 minutes. Play in the fourth.
Yeah, Christopher Newport, absolutely no rush here, especially with that flag down.
And Cramp gets his second goal of the night. Will Cramp on the feed from Kevin Miller. But CNU back up 5, 16-11.
And that one looked like it knocked off of Kim as it went into goal and then went right in behind him. Just unable to get his full body weight in front of that one, and that ball slips right through. Big goal there for CNU.
Definitely at least got a piece of it. And goal is good, and they get a 1-minute slashing call against Washington and Lee's Gabe Ryder. So on top of the captain scoring a goal to make it a 5-goal lead. They also now going to be a player up for the next minute. Extra man opportunity looming here for CNU. And going early that time was Spano. The Generals caught him between a change here. Now, CNU can work 6-on-5. They had just 4 defenders in the defensive end for a second. And late switch after the call was made on the faceoff. Get a 5th player down there on defense.
Think about it. This is pretty much a must-have stop for W&L here. Down 5 goals, only 6 minutes left. Still a chance to get back in this one, but gonna have to come up with a big stop here on this CNU attack. Up a man.
So as we hit 6 minutes, 15 seconds left on the slashing call against the Generals. And the captains utilize as much of this clock as they can. So back to even strength is Washington and Lee. Vellemotter right back into the fold, nearly taking that one away from Sashian. Now with 10 seconds left to shoot for CNU. Turn to Brett Jackson. Jackson gets a high carom off the turf and into the back of the net. Christopher Newport makes it 17-11.
And Jackson able to slot home his 3rd one of the night as well. Slips past all the Washington and Lee defense. Short side goal. Really not much of an angle that he had at it, but somehow that one bounces past him. It's Christopher Newport up by 6 now with 5 to go. Just absolutely clinical so far today on offense.
For Jackson, he is the 4th different captain with at least 3 goals tonight. Miller, Fulkerson, Smith, and Jackson all with at least 3 goals. They have combined for 12 of the 17 for CNU. Now a face-off win for Warner Cavanis. Cavanis with the slight edge on face-offs. Now head-to-head against Spano. Still with the advantage for the game just by 2.
And Cavanis has really come up in big spots for CNU. Just winning the face-offs when they need them most, especially in moments like this where they're taking the opportunity to run the clock out.
The Generals stretch their defense here. They trail by 6, less than 5 minutes left in the 4th. Make life a little bit more difficult for the captains as they look to eat time. Christopher Newport being poised in the offensive end. McLean for a cutter over the middle, and a turnover for CNU, but still almost a whole nother minute comes off the clock there.
For W&L at this point, it's really going to have to be just get a goal as quickly as you can, and then winning pretty much every face-off, at least forcing turnovers from CNU. But as you said earlier, Ryan, got to start with 1 goal at a time.
And Rosacker on this stick check sees a flag fly. It was nearly a flawless defensive effort from A.J. Rosacker. And instead it looks like it will be a penalty and a man-up chance for Washington and Lee. So we'll get him for a holding penalty. Just a 30-second advantage here for Washington and Lee with 3:50 to play in the 4th. Trailing 17-11. Generals ball on the far side. And Jack Dalton, Dalton Burns, Elliott Allen, Haley and Cardillo. Burns down for Haley. Redirect for Allen, and they say that Haley was in the crease. A flag flies behind the play as 2 players collided into each other. A failed opportunity in front. And we will see Some penalties here against the Generals. The captain's fired up as they come to the sideline. Only have a 6-goal lead. And they're going to be hitting to the man up. Just a matter of seeing what the call is here.
And just an unfortunate spot there for the Generals. Up a man on their own end, no understanding that they have to work quickly. And then just coming into the spot, a little too close to the keeper, and then committing the foul and going down a man themselves.
So the penalty had not yet expired on Rosacker. There's still 18 seconds left on that. So there's still 18 seconds left on the penalty to Rosacker, and then after the unnecessary roughness call against Hillis Burns, Senior will be manned up for about 42 seconds. So at least for now, there'll be no advantage. 5-on-5.
You got to think CNU are going to go back to what they've been doing, just moving the ball around and keeping around the perimeter, trying to run a clock out.
So the captain's back to full strength. They now have a man-up chance. Next about 30 seconds or so. Passing through the midfield here with Sashian. Brought to the near side by Jackson. Still 10 seconds left on the advantage for CNU. So Washington Lee back to full strength, and now Christopher Newport will take a timeout as soon as the Generals get back to full strength. 2:35 to play in the fourth. Number 4, Christopher Newport, up by 6 on number 10, Washington Lee. As they want to talk things over here, make sure everyone's on the same page for the final 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, CNU have just done a really good job this second half of controlling the game, not allowing Washington Lee to get very comfortable on either end. A really good job just slicing through the Generals' defense, finding a lot of good looks right in front of the net and of Kim, and put him into some uncomfortable spots as well, which has really helped them build this big lead, 17-11.
7 points from Kevin Miller, 3 goals and 4 assists. Hat tricks for Fred Fulkerson and Jamie Smith. 3 goals and an assist for Brett Jackson. It's done a bulk of the offense for Christopher Newport. A pair of goals for Will Cramp as well. 10 saves in goal for Mason Bellinger. He's conceded just 11 goals. For Washington and Lee, J.J. Kim making his second collegiate start. He's made 9 saves and conceded 17 times. 6 goals from Hillis Burns. A goal and assist for Jack Elliott, and every other player for the Generals has just a point that is scored so far here today. And although the face-off battle favors Washington and Lee 17-15 overall, it has been on a 50-50 split between a pair of All-Americans in Warner Cabanis and Tyler Spano, and Christopher Newport's advantage in some of the other statistical categories, including their conversion in the offensive end, gives them a 6-goal lead here. Just 2.5 minutes remaining. Generals, full engaged ride here as Ryder and O'Keefe barrel over the ball carrier. O'Keefe gets it up to Beatty. One more, and that's Jack Dalton sliding it in.
Very efficient work from the Generals there on that goal. Good physical play to win it in the midfield. As you talked about O'Keefe there, the camera not exactly where the play was, but then Dalton on the other end, slicing right to the goal. And exactly what the Generals need there. Still down 5, but anything can happen if you win some face-offs.
So now Tyler Spano will have to try and help the Generals' cause here on the face-off dot. Tripped up, and it is going to be in favor of Washington and Lee.
The Generals do need a lot of those to go their way, but again, winning that one, just going to grab another goal that's in front of them. See if they're able to do it quickly.
Pass it. Now behind the net, Albricks. Dalton into the middle for Ermshire, just no room to operate. Albricks trying to bounce when it goes wide. Washington and Lee is going to utilize a timeout. With 1:49 left here in the fourth, trailing by 5. Coach McCabe talked things over with the Generals. We're able to get a stop on their last possession there, force a turnover and score off of it. And now with possession in the offensive end, they need to find 5 goals here over the final 2 minutes.
Yeah, a big stat to take a look at as well in this game. Generals leading the total shots 41-33, but only 22 of which have been on goal to CNU's 26. Christopher Newport, the captain, certainly playing more efficiently on the offensive end, which has contributed to their 5-goal advantage. As you said, Ryan, still plenty of time for the Generals to try to snatch a couple back and see if they can claw back into this one with 2 minutes. Coach McCabe just trying to go over the strategy and get everybody on the same page.
It's going to need a goal and some face-off wins and just trying to get as many opportunities on the offensive end.
Certainly not out of the realm of possibility, but will require, as you said, face-off wins and maybe a little luck, but we'll see what they're able to do in the final 1 minute and 49 seconds.
The Generals will take the field here. Cardillo with Ermshire, Dalton, Haley, Elliott, and Allen. No Hillis Burns out there for the Generals after he picked up that unnecessary roughness call. This team trailing by 5, going to need some contributions from some other factors. A quick try for Allen, not close.
And it really has just been Burns for the Generals on offense today, but
Cardillo on the doorstep. So James Cardillo puts it in, 17-13.
You can always find other options on offense, as we were just saying, and Cardillo there coming up in a big spot. Nobody in front of him there besides Bellinger, and an easy one he'll finish off. But once again, be up to Spano here to see if he's able to win it. One up against Cabinets.
With it being a 4-goal game and just 96 seconds left, they need quick and efficient face-off wins as well, just to give as much time as possible on offense. That's what they will get on that possession from Spano. Quick trigger for Haley. He's forced behind the net. Haley trying to roll around. Defense has him tied up. Haley just had to get rid of it. Not a clean pass to Albricks, and it's a turnover. Long pole really wrestled in the arms of Haley, made him uncomfortable.
Yeah, Haley looked like he was looking for some help from a teammate there. Just held on to it for a little bit too long, and the Generals lose possession there and potentially seals the game for them.
And Christopher Newport can try and ride out the rest of this game. Jamie Smith has other ideas. 4th goal of the night for Smith. And that's the put away for CNU.
Looked like Smith was going to try to put that game away, but then he saw a crease right at the goal. Nobody standing there for Washington and Lee, and able to run right in there and put home his 4th goal of the night.
4 goals for Jamie Smith. Now a 5-goal lead for Christopher Newport, 18-13. With 4:92 left, or 49.2 seconds left, and Generals put in their 2 starting midfielders as the wing guys on face-off here just to try and get them involved as quick as possible. A violation against Christopher Newport going early, and now W&L is trying to continue to go as fast as possible. Dalton misses the net. Christopher Newport hopes of closing out this one, making 5 straight wins against Washington Lee and take a lead in the all-time series 7-6. It's a turnover from Washington Lee with just about 30 seconds left. And now the Captains can salt away the rest of this clock.
And Christopher Newport, really a dominant second half display offensively, especially in that third period. The Generals off balance that entire way, and despite a late push from Washington and Lee with a couple of goals, Smith was able to score that last one, and we'll just see them run out the rest of the clock here.
This one kept in along the midfield stripe, and the final few seconds will tick off the clock. Number 4, Christopher Newport beats 10th-ranked Washington and Lee, 18-13 the final at Wilson Field, as the Captains defeat the Generals for a 5th straight season to retain the Lacrosse the Nations Cup against the Generals as they win it by 5 here in Lexington.
Yeah, Christopher Newport, just an all-around great performance. Goal scorers everywhere. You got Smith, Miller, and Jackson all with over 3 goals. And offensively, just did a really good job getting into the face of Kim, not allowing him to be too comfortable on a lot of those shot attempts, and just finding the spots against that Washington and Lee defense where they could get a good pass inside or even just run right into the spot and slot home a goal. Washington and Lee just unable to keep up with the offensive firepower of the Captains.
So Christopher Newport gets it done here in Lexington. 18-13 the final as they improve to 12-1 here in 2025 and put an end to Washington and Lee's 6-game winning streak. And the Generals drop to 8-3 on the season. Some statistical leaders tonight. A game-high 7 points, 3 goals, and 4 assists for sophomore attacker Kevin Miller for CNU. That gives him now 69 on the season through 13 games. 4 goals for Jamie Smith puts his season total at 48 goals. 4 points for Brett Jackson on 3 goals and an assist, and a hat trick for Fred Fulkerson for Christopher Newport. 10 saves and goal for Mason Bellinger as he concedes 13 goals, but gets the win in net for Christopher Newport. For Washington and Lee, J.J. Kim in his second collegiate start makes 9 saves, gives up 18 goals for Washington and Lee, and he ends up on the losing side of the decision. But Hillis Burns has a game-high 6 goals, pushes his season total to 25, but that was about it. He had half of Washington and Lee's offensive production, 2 points each for James Cardillo and Jack Elliott on a goal and an assist, and really the Generals held in check. Outside of Burns, James Haley held off the score sheet for the Generals. Really, in the midfield outside of Elliott, not a whole lot else going, as Joey Allen ended up with just 1 goal. Jack Dalton had a goal and an assist, but really the depth that Washington Lee has got scoring at times this season, just not there so far here tonight.
Yeah, Christopher Newport, I mean, at times it was sort of just like Burns all alone going against their defense, and he was able to find home, as we talked about, 6 goals and some interesting shot angles, and he was able to beat the goalkeeper Bellinger quite a few times, but the rest of, as we talked about, the rest of Washington and Lee attack struggled against Bellinger. He had 10 total saves on the game and really at times dominated the game and stopped Washington and Lee's momentum at a few key moments, and that really was the difference, is just the struggles from everybody else from Washington and Lee on offense and Bellinger's ability to stop the rest of the guys.
So Captains will retain the Lacrosse the Nations Cup trophy here as they'll get brought to CNU here as they win it by a score of 18-13. The Captains and the Generals close out their matchup in their annual clash here today as both teams will take part here in at least just the trophy part presentation, just from a standpoint of participation and sportsmanship of acknowledging both sides of this cause that both of these teams have really put their time and effort into the last couple of years of Lacrosse the Nations, and they will be awarded the annual cup as Coach McCabe hands over the trophy to the Captains of Christopher Newport as they get it for a 5th straight season, beating Washington and Lee here tonight by a final of 18-13. You see the exchange as sign of sportsmanship from both sides, and the Captains raise the trophy here at Wilson Field. They get it done by a final of 18-13. That'll wrap it up for us here at Wilson Field this evening. CNU retains the Lacrosse the Nations Cup, an 18-13 win over number 10 Washington and Lee. The fourth-ranked captains improved to 12-1 on the season and 3-0 on the road this season. Next in action, road doesn't get much easier for CNU. They make the trip to Maryland to take on number 2 Salisbury on Saturday, and then we'll return home for games the following weekend as they resume conference play. Washington and Lee will head on the road this in the midweek. They will play at Randolph on Wednesday night, and then return home to play Randolph-Macon here at Wilson Field on Saturday afternoon before a big showdown next Wednesday against Lynchburg here at Wilson Field. Washington Lee drops to 8-3, has its 6-game winning streak snapped, and loses for the second time on its home field this season. For all of us at the Washington Lee Sports Network, my partner Shane Riley, I'm Ryan Connell saying thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your Monday night. Number 4 CNU beats number 10 Washington Lee 18-13.